Hi, I'm Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I'm going to share with you some of my favourite memories and maybe not so favourite memories of Broadway. Joseph was originally written for a school. It was performed on a rather damp, wet Friday afternoon to a crowd of rather bored parents who had all been sort of forced to come to hear their offspring sing this piece. And it kind of really worked really well. We then did it again in the Central Hall at Westminster, which is a great big hall there. And it amazingly got reviewed by the London Sunday Times, and that's how Joseph got started. It got recorded then. It really didn't see the light of day much apart from being performed by school choirs and things like that in high schools until after Jesus Christ Superstar. But funnily enough, one of the earliest performances of it was here in New York. It was in Douglastown, I remember. I think it was the College of the Immaculate Conception or something. I can't remember quite the name. The priest there, paid for Tim Rice and I to come over, and we stayed in the Harvard Club, which is where he put us up. And I don't think that the people at the Harvard Club were terribly impressed by the length of my hair in those days. The great memory of Jesus Christ Superstar for me was really the first performance of it in concert when it was in Pittsburgh. We were all quite pleased at the time, but I would think it was probably pretty primitive. I remember when we did Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway, we were really the first show to have a sound desk. And I remember the theatre owners all sort of thinking when it went into Mark Hellinger, a sound desk was taking away seats. What a terrible, terrible thing. I didn't care for the Broadway production at all. I always said that I thought that it was not right and didn't really get the essence of the piece. We got the finance together from what was MCA Records in those days to record it. And so it had to be produced like a kind of musical radio play. I always feel Superstar works best when it's close to a sort of staged concert. Levita in London, I mean, I can never forget really the first preview of that, when I don't think anybody had really seen sort of staging like that. Hal Prince was wonderful. I mean, Hal taught me a very, very great deal. He called me one day and said, now look, you're going to come into a rehearsal this week and see the choreography, and you're going to hear music that you didn't write, and you're absolutely going to hate it. So just keep quiet, watch the choreography, and then rewrite the music and do it yourself. That was my first sort of baptism by far of how to write for dance. Everybody always thinks, Phantom is this great colossus of a production, but it isn't actually. It's, as Hal said himself, it's quite impressionistic. It's all in a kind of black box. The first preview of Phantom in London was quite something because nobody knew what to expect. I think they thought Michael Crawford would be doing his sort of Some Others Do Have 'Em act and kind of leaping out from behind bits of the set and saying boo, And of course, it was quite different. It was an extraordinary night because I don't think anybody had a clue what it was going to be. The zeitgeist is such an extraordinary thing. You can never ever really reckon on that and being 100% reliable. But it was interesting. It's just as I wanted as a sort of antidote to Evita and to Cats and everything. I wanted to write a high romance. I just wanted to let it all tumble out of me and just do one. And so did Hal. And we hit a time when that's what the public wanted. Evita opened very bad reviews, and yet a few months later it won the Tony for Best Musical and Best Score, and you often think to yourself, why? What people thought with Evita, they didn't understand that it was meant to be a cautionary tale about, an attractive extremist being really dangerous. Politics in America in that time was something didn't want to talk about it. Then the Russian invasion of Afghanistan happened. Suddenly everybody started talking about politics, and suddenly there was debates about what Evita really was all about and everything, and the zeitgeist absolutely changed, and suddenly people saw Evita for what it was meant to be. Well, Cinderella as somebody rather put it rather brilliantly, is shattering the glass slipper. I was out with a load of TV execs at dinner, and after dinner everybody started talking about what was the kind of biggest event on American TV. I said, you find the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella might well be up there, you know. Everybody looked a bit askance at me, thinking, you know, poor old man, he's, you know, a bit past it these days, but, you know, we'll indulge him. Somebody looked at me and said, oh my God, 100 million plus viewers in 1957 of all times. So everybody then said, look, why don't I do a Cinderella? And I got sent, I mean, absolutely dire synopses, which I'm not going to embarrass you about, but you could kind of imagine the sort of things, trying to update it, and I thought, no. And I ran into Emerald Fennell, who I've known since she was a child, actually, and Emerald said, could she knock me up a synopsis? And I said, fine. 2 days later she had, and I saw this story, and I thought, yeah, this I can do. It basically makes the point, don't change yourself to be what you think other people want you to be. Don't go to the ball dressed in a different way. Go to the ball dressed as yourself. In our Cinderella, things go wrong for her because she does change. What Emerald's very cleverly done is to take the beats of the Cinderella story, but every single one of them is changed. People I know really well have been to see it and said, you simply don't see where the next thing is coming from. We're having great fun with it in London. It's going very, very well, and I can't wait to bring it here.